What's going on, guys? In today's episode, we got a great one for you. My Bruins are moving on. Damian Lillard is a baller. And we got our NFL draft preview. So let's go. Welcome to Trophy Kids, presented by Bad News Media. It is April 25th. It is draft day. We are, we're releasing this in the morning. We're recording it Wednesday night, so it's not really draft day yet, but it is the day that our hopes are high, only to be crushed in a couple months when the season starts and we realize our teams suck just as much as they did before. But I'm riding high. I'm still as high as the Snoop Dogg's Conscious on 420. My Bruins closed it out. It was never a doubt. Boston closes it out. Like always, it's just our thing. It's what we do. Also hate the NHL. Well, I love it in one way, and I hate it in the other, where they just move right on to the next series, which is awesome because then you don't have to wait forever for all the games to finish up. But, like, Boston has a game on Thursday. That sucks after going 7 games.
Yeah, it's tough, but at least they keep the games going. At least it doesn't just drag out, and you got a bunch of downtime. People forget about the playoffs that way.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Don't love that sound that just came through. That's my... All right, there we go. And, Boston also, fun little fact, 8 straight playoff series wins right now. Between the Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, and Bruins, we are winning. It is phenomenal. Unlike your Detroit, it's been a while since we've talked. Last time I talked to you, the state of Michigan was in a better state of mind. Michigan State hadn't lost the Final Four game yet. Michigan State had also not released those atrociously bad jerseys. The Red Wings season wasn't over just yet. It was about to be over. And the Pistons, well, their season was going to come to an end regardless one way or the other, but they had not yet gone through the freight train that is Giannis. How's your mental state going on?
Not great. I kind of knew this was coming. It was almost bad news that the Pistons had made the playoffs because, I knew this was kind of going to happen. So I was hoping to at least have like the 1 in 15 shot at the lottery. But, it is what it is. It's what our owner wants to do. So I can't tell a billionaire to do something different, I guess.
Just to put this in perspective for everybody.
How
rough Detroit has been to be a fan. Pistons lost 14 straight playoff games. That's an NBA record. The Lions' last playoff game win was in 1991, second longest active drought. The Red Wings missed the playoffs the last 3 years after making it previous 25 straight. And the Tigers last won a playoff series in 2013. Not looking good for the state of Michigan, sir.
Detroit has not done well in the sports department. That's for sure.
That's an understatement.
And that is why I am so excited for draft day, because as a Lions fan, it's Christmas. It's all we can look forward to. It's all we got.
Yeah, it's the beauty. It's the beauty of the draft. You're filled with joy and happiness, the prospects of landing the next building block on your way to a Super Bowl. And like I said at the start,
take another tight end.
Yep. Then you remember your teams are the same teams as they are. We're going to get into it here in a little bit, but Tampa Bay will probably draft some defensive player, and next year we'll need to fill the exact same spot. The Lions will do something stupid. It's what we do. It's why we are continuously losers. But your Red Wings hired a legend there, bringing him back.
Now, bringing back Stevie Y was the highlight of, let's see here. You said the last playoff series was 3 years ago. That the last time the Red Wings made so that's probably been the last good time for Detroit sports.
Yeah.
And even then it wasn't good because the Red Wings were just backing into the playoffs. So last time was the Tigers when they won in 13. That's the last time anything's been good. And this is probably the best thing that's happened to him since.
Yep, I would agree. I think it's a good move. I mean, he helped build that Lightning team, take it as you will.
He helped build them. He didn't help coach them. So that's not that part's not on him.
This is true, but he did staff them with a lot of people who mentally do not seem to be able to handle the rigors of the NHL playoffs, or getting hit in the mouth for that matter.
I'm gonna say it's because he wasn't there. It's because he wasn't able to give a speech. It's because he stepped away. That's why they weren't able to come through.
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. The Drake curse lives on too. How did I not include that in the intro?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Also,
that is something else.
Yeah, for all Drake who was at the Toronto game last night, not the Leafs, the Raptors game. It was like, oh, you all want to talk about the curse, and everybody's like, well, the curse can't be real because he won. No. The curse is alive when he wears a jersey. He did not wear a Raptors jersey. He wore a Toronto Leafs jersey to the Leafs game. Any game he shows up to wear a jersey in, that team is automatically losing. Well, I guess the Michigan State picture was a bit of Fraud City, but it was still out there. Put the karma out there. Anytime he wears a jersey to a game, that team is losing.
I don't like it.
Great response. It's just alive. It's alive still. Speaking of the NBA playoffs, Damian Lillard. Oh man, that is one. I'm mad at myself. I went to bed early last night. Not only did I miss out on the Sharks, Golden Knights insanity that was Game 7 there, I also missed out on maybe one of the greatest basketball shots ever. I mean, talk about the cockiest yet sweetest way to end the game. He wasn't trying to drive to the hole. He wasn't even trying to get close to the three-point line. He literally crossed half court, dribbled around for a little, launched it, knew it was in, game, set, match. That is ice water through your veins type of shot.
It was something else. I did not watch it like you, Nate. I went to bed early as well, but seeing that when I woke up in the morning was just whoa.
Yeah. Whoa is right.
Absolutely whoa.
Every angle
was all I could say
that came out from that it got better and better from each one. I mean, you had to know something was coming like that as the way Russ was pissing off the Trailblazers there, but that's what you get. When you tug on the tail of a snake, it comes around and bites you.
I mean, dropping just 50 points in a game, just in a clinching game, just absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. He was basically playing 2K, but in real life. It was insane.
Yeah, he went 17 from 33, so not bad shooting percentage. It's not he took a lot of shots, but it's not like he pulled a Kobe and went 10 for 28 and had 30 points. I mean, he went 17 of 33 and 10 of 18 from the 3-point line. Just absolutely incredible. Like, his shooting percentages aren't down.
No. Yeah, it was an insane game, to say the least. I'm pissed that I missed it. I'm pissed that I went to bed, but this is also what happens when you have all these night games during the week. Like, what do you all expect from me here? I'm only human.
Yeah, right. I got to pick and choose. That Sharks Knights game out, as bad as I wanted to watch it, it was just not happening. There was no way I was going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I was out. I did get the over in that game, thank you. Over in the Bruins game, also thank you for counting that goal. It was a wonderful night. I also had, the Nuggets. So, yeah, good times. Good times had by all. Anything else before we dive into our NFL draft preview here?
Not for me.
I don't really have anything else. Let's get right into it. The NFL draft. You're listening to this today. It is tonight, 8 p.m., first round. Mel Kiper won't be taking a piss break. I do truly, deeply miss John Gruden and Mel Kiper going at it on draft night. John Gruden never met a quarterback he didn't like during the draft process as an analyst. Mel Kiper and him had some epic battles. I'm excited. I think that this draft is I'm a little less excited for this draft, and I can't tell if it's because of just the insane hype that the quarterbacks from last year's class brought to that draft, or if it's because this is so defensive heavy that it just doesn't get the same excitement off the page. But this is a draft where you could easily put building blocks down to launching your franchise because there are so many just meat and bone kind of guys that you can go grab to build franchises around.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird to me too. You have Dwayne Haskins out there not getting a bunch of hype anymore, talking about falling to 15. I mean, it's just one of the things that I don't really see with quarterbacks. I just am waiting for these crazy draft trades to come off the board just because nobody's talking about these quarterbacks. And I feel like there's no way that they drop that far.
Yeah, I couldn't think I kept thinking to myself, is it just because, last class was just so great that this class were kind of like they're not great by any, like compared to last class, but I don't know if we're like undervaluing them because of just how great last class was and them compared to that, or if it is just like a normal draft class where you might have one or two guys at the quarterback position that turn out okay in the NFL, because that's generally what it is. It's a couple guys that end up being okay.
Yeah, I guess it could be dropping down, but then again, when it comes to the defensive lineman prospects, I cannot wait. It's one of the things the Lions need so bad, and if we're gonna jump right into that, the Lions are just gonna be the Lions and screw it up and take T.J. Hawkinson, which won't be a bad pick, but them following up their Eric Ebron pick with another tight end after they get rid of him in a top 10 pick, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm already calling it now. I'm not going to be happy.
Hey, at least the tight ends this year are half decent at the top part of the board. Yeah, this is a draft. We can get just straight into it with it. The defensive line, that's where I think the Bucs are probably going to end up going at number 5, is either defensive line or Devin White, which I'm happy with either way. Or there's rumors we might trade down, which I'm also not overly upset about if that's what ends up happening. But the...
Hang on. I want to interrupt you for a second, just because I'm watching NFL Live right now, and Devin Bush took his prospect picture in a white cowboy hat. What
Good
in the hell?
Good for him. I guess he wants to go play for Jerry and the boys.
It caught me way off guard. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, this draft, to kind of go back and forth a little bit here, it's going to be interesting. The Cardinals at 1, that's kind of where I really want to start. This team is I'm not even going to give them the dignity of being the Cleveland Browns, because what they have done is shoot themselves so hard in the foot that there is no real, I don't think, winning, at least for the next couple of years. Because here are your outcomes. 1, you don't actually draft Kyler Murray, and you stay with Josh Rosen, who now hates you for what he went through. I don't think he's really going to overcome that. He seems like a guy who's going to be petty and eventually be out of Arizona. And I don't blame him, too, first of all. Like, it's kind of crazy how far his value has dropped, given he was on an atrociously bad football team last year. That offensive line was garbage. The other outcome is you trade him, and he doesn't get as much value as he's probably worth, even though some team I think is going to get a big win with him. And then you draft Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray to me, he could very easily pan out in the NFL. Like, that's possible. But I don't see the top 2 teams that are most likely to draft him, the Cardinals and Raiders, as being a success story for him. Because he's always been on good teams with really good lines and good offensive play. He's not going to have that in Arizona, at least for the next couple of years. That, I think, is going to be detrimental to his development. And if he goes to the Raiders, say the Cardinals don't draft him, the Raiders are the next likely option. There is no way, based off that interview he gave with, what's his name? Help me out here. When he was in answering questions about baseball. Dan Patrick. There is no way that guy, not saying he isn't going to be a great leader, but he seems like the quiet, let my game play lead type of deal. And in that locker room, you need a Baker or a guy who can absorb Antonio Brown's craziness and still lead the football team. And I don't think that's going to happen with Kyler Murray. So I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't draft him for the Arizona Cardinals at this point.
I mean, starting on the Raiders, I think it would be an absolute mess if he goes to the Raiders. I mean, John Gruden, I think, is already creating a mess. And then you add Kyler Murray, a quarterback who looks like he can't speak, onto a team with Antonio Brown. That just looks like a recipe for disaster. And then the Cardinals just kind of screwed it up. I mean, they look like the joke of the New York Knicks right now. Just an absolute joke of a franchise, because they get a head coach in. After 1 year, they fire him. He doesn't have anything to work with. They just fire him right away. Mm-hmm. Then they bring in Cliff Kingsbury, and they talk about drafting Kyler Murray now because Cliff Kingsbury said one time in an interview that he would draft Kyler Murray number 1 overall if he could. Like that's what's out there right now. That's why it is what it is. And I mean, you have Josh Rosen. I mean, you don't know what you have in him because they were so bad last year.
Yeah. And I still think he's a very good quarterback, or has the, I shouldn't say very good. He has the potential to be a very good quarterback in this league. He has all the tools around him. He's a smart guy. You put him in an offense where he can succeed. You got a recipe for success there. The Cardinals are a disaster. This is the problem. And we got breaking news today that apparently Dan Snyder has taken over the Redskins process, which I smell quarterback from a mile away then. He is going to trade up and overextend for probably Dwayne Haskins, who I actually think that situation probably works a little bit better for him because there's some pieces there, not a lot to offer, but something. All these quarterbacks, none of these quarterbacks jump off the page as somebody who can come in day one on a shitty team and improve your football team exponentially, like the last class could. And people keep giving the Baker example. The situation Baker went into outside of the head coaching situation was very ideal. He got into a situation where there was tons of talent on that team beforehand, littered. It just hadn't come together in a form of a team yet. But there was talent up and down the roster. There was good offensive talent, decent offensive line, a decent defense. Nothing crazy, but good. Like a good structure, good foundation. He was able to sit for a little bit because you had Tyrod in there, so he didn't have the immediate pressure of needing to get caught up to speed real quick. He could take a minute to breathe. That's a great situation. They compare him to Russell Wilson. Also, another guy who got drafted into a great situation. You know what makes playing quarterback in the NFL, your rookie, sophomore, junior year, a hell of a lot easier? When you have a top scoring defense that if you turn over the ball or you don't have a great offensive series, you don't have to worry about it because the defense is going to go out there and ball out and get you the ball back. So none of these teams, I don't understand the philosophy of jumping up for this group of guys when you have so many other deep players where you can get a great talent at defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. You can get a good wide receiver early. It's not a crazy jump off the page, but there's some good wide receiver talent there. It just doesn't make sense to me for these teams that have huge holes. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals have bigger holes than the Titanic at this point that they got to fill. That you overextend for somebody who may or may not work out because he's a short quarterback, but he has insane athleticism and good mechanics. He's got very good mechanics too. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
It doesn't to me either, and it just shows that they can't make up their mind and they don't know what they're doing because they switched their head coach, and now this year they're going to want to switch their quarterback, or they can't make up their mind on if they should switch their quarterback or not. When, like you said, there's a bunch of other things out there that they can go get this year. They can plug holes in the defensive line. The Arizona Cardinals just aren't good right now.
No, they can plug holes in the offensive line and defensive line both because the offensive. That's another thing. I think this offensive line class is pretty damn good from tackle and in guard. There's a lot of good players there. Go get you somebody who can block for Josh Rosen. Because also, you know what's not going to help? Kyler Murray's a small dude. He's going to get his ass whooped by defensive linemen and linebackers in this league. Like, you need to protect him because he's not a very big dude. From a height perspective, he's going to get thrown around like a ragdoll. He is Michael Vick, like athleticism. He's got great mechanics, but he's going to need some help. Before we move on from the quarterback class, any final notes on the class as a whole?
Not really for me.
Are we? Can we just?
You want to talk about the John Elway thing?
Well, I'm switching gears. John Elway, I mean, has to be in love with Daniel Jones, but I'm almost positive the Giants are going to go get Daniel Jones. I mean, I'm becoming more and more convinced of that because Eli is a ticking time bomb. And that Eli Manning family loves David Cutcliffe, Daniel Jones' head coach at Duke. You think Daniel Jones is going to come in and immediately be gunning for Eli's job? Absolutely not. I feel like that kid could easily manipulate it into being like, in 3 years, you'll take over the team. Just learn the position, sit down on the bench, go from here type of deal.
You know, that's not a bad take. I never would have thought of that, though.
I'm telling you, I think I feel it in my bones. They're going to draft him. And I don't hate Daniel Jones. I just, once again, I don't look at none of these quarterbacks. Haskins the only one where I'm like, because he can absolutely shred a defense if you give him time from an accuracy standpoint. I don't love just any of these quarterbacks compared to the other pieces you can go get. And then next 2 years, you got good, like, who are we kidding here? The Arizona Cardinals are going to be picking in the top 5 again next year. Whether they pick Kyler Murray, they don't. You don't think there's going to be a quarterback you can go grab next year in the top 5? Or if they're 2 years from now, you don't think there's going to be a quarterback in the next 2 years? Like, come on now. What are we doing here? Like, you're not you're not getting exponentially better next year that you're coming out of the top 5. I'm
I mean, we're
confident.
looking at Tua next year, and then the year after that, we're looking at Trevor Lawrence. So, there's always going to be a quarterback there.
Always going to be 2 guys that you could go out with. I see this as the Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota type of draft. I don't know if any of these.
But in that one, those 2 are such head and shoulders above the rest of them. These ones, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's
who's
true.
going to be the best one.
Back. That was a bad.
I mean,
take.
there's 4 of them. I just don't know if there's going to be a single good one come out of here.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if any of them are going to be busts. So who knows, really?
Yeah, no, that was a bad take on my point. I retract that. I retract that take. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I
know you're thinking of the mediocre draft class, but this one is...
There's talent.
This one's almost like boom or bust type of a deal.
Yes.
For everybody involved.
I agree. All right.
For all 4, you could have your next franchise quarterback out of any 4 of these quarterbacks, but you could also have a bust out of any 4 of these quarterbacks. There's no sure thing in this one.
Yeah, it's going to require the front offices not to have some competency, and I don't have a lot of faith in that. Also, talking about front offices, what John Gruden and what's his face have done out in Oakland and kicking all of their scouts out is hysterical.
Oh God, I can't wait. I'm looking at. I'm still watching the NFL or live or whatever it is, and I just saw DK Metcalf's name show up. And I don't know if he's been rumored there or not, but DK Metcalf to the Oakland Raiders, number 4 overall.
All-time Raiders move.
That's just a Raiders move right there. That's just like when they took Darius Hayward-Bay, who did nothing just because he ran under a 4.4.
Yeah, remember when it was so easy to tell who the Raiders were going to pick? Because as soon as the fastest 40 time came in, you knew Al Davis was getting him.
Yep. It didn't matter if it was cornerback, wide receiver. They automatically went to number 1 on their draft board.
Yep.
It didn't matter who was around them.
He was fielding a track team, not a football team. But
exactly.
The DJ Metcalf thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He's a very good deep threat as far as you could bomb it up to him and try to go get it. But this is not an original take here. He's got the changing speed of Tom Brady out there, which is not ideal for a guy who's got to try to run routes. As far as his 3-cone drill and his shuttle run were terribly unathletic times. We mentioned it on Tuesday. I love Dabo Samuel out of South Carolina. I like Brown out of Oklahoma. He's going to shred and thrash some teams. I love Harry out of Arizona State. Like, there are some other guys I'd go over before DJ Metcalf. This is also not, or DK. This is not I don't think this is a draft where you should overreach for wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you should overreach for him, especially DK Metcalf. I mean, that 3-cone drill is just insane to me. That means you can just run in a straight line.
It's so bad. How does it get that bad?
I mean, you could run in a straight line. Sure, you're strong, so you can maybe push the guy in front of you off. But if you gotta go around him still.
Yeah. Now, take in mind,
it doesn't matter how strong you are.
We're not insane athletes here. There's a reason our show is called Trophy Kids, but we're also not graded as the second best wide receiver. Some have him as the first best wide receiver in the draft, in running a 3-cone drill about the speed of Tom Brady. Like, that is bad.
Right. You can't talk about somebody's measurables without talking about all their measurables. Like, you can't just pick their best ones and then ignore their terrible ones.
Whoa, sir. Now you're dissing a lot of NFL GMs out there.
Oh, please.
You're telling me
that is one job that I don't understand.
Oh, dude, it's a incest pool of just switching guys around from team to team. It's like no wonder these bottom feeders stay bad forever. You're going to the same well.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's so fantastic too because it's like one team finally branches out and then every other team tries to be just like them until the next team branches out and gets a new guy. Like the whole evolution of the offensive game. Like you get the young guns in there. Now everybody's trying to be the young gun until the next great thing comes and then there's no self-think there. It's group think in the NFL.
Exactly, and it's all just just like how this NFL season went, where it's like offense, 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 and then all of a sudden the playoffs start, and it's like, oh wait, defense really does still work.
Yeah. Now this is the draft, I think, because it has been so offensive heavy, like the NFL. This is the draft where some serious dudes on the defensive side of the football come into the league, I think, and start to shift the conversation, I think, back, because the talent, like we've mentioned a couple times already, on the defensive line, the linebacker, corner, secondary, it jumps off the page. I mean, if you're drafting the top 10 and you need to get a defensive guy, hell, if you're drafting in the top 15, the only way these guys, I think, bust is if they pull some lazy nonsense, like Jamarcus Russell laziness type of deal, and they get way out of weight and just can't handle the freedom that the NFL, because they all have insane talent on the football field.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would be their downfall: drug tests and weight issues. I mean, unless they become injury prone, there's really, I mean, these guys are just beasts.
Yeah, I think you basically, if I'm a GM and I'm looking. If I'm drafting, I always have this philosophy. I'm drafting the top 10. You just got to take the best guy on the that's available type of deal, unless you have an absolute stud at the position already. But even then, you can always put him on the other side of the ball. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
you're just throwing darts at this point, because on the defensive line, like for example, top 4 guys, you want to go defensive tackle. You got Williams out of Alabama, Oliver, Wilkinson out of Clemson, Dexter Lawrence. You could go Nick Bosa, Sweat out of Mississippi State, Farrell out of Clemson again. You want linebackers, both Devins. On the inside, you got some great outside linebacker edge. Cornerbacks, I love DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. Like, it's defense galore. You got to be licking your chops if you're a defensive coordinator and you get to weigh in this season on who to pick, because you've got unlimited opportunities here.
it is. It's unlimited. I mean, that's why, like I said earlier, I would be so upset if the Lions went out there and drafted T.J. Hockenson. So upset.
Not to say that T.J. Hockenson isn't a good prospect, but yes, I would agree.
Right. Not to say he won't be. He might not be the number 1 tight end in 3 years from now, but it's just a position. It's a luxury position.
Yeah.
And I mean, they need so much help on their pass rush that the fact that they would pass up on their pass rush just to grab Stafford, another offensive weapon, would be ridiculous.
Also, very similar to like Aaron Rodgers in this fact, I don't have full confidence in Matthew Stafford being able to use a tight end in the right way.
Correct. I mean, look at Eric Ebron.
Yeah, like point set match there, and just the perfect example.
I mean, look at what he did. He just went off and he scored a bunch of touchdowns. And I don't even know, at this point, who knows who it is. I'm so lost up here in Detroit that I don't even know who to blame right now. I don't know if I should be mad at Bob Quinn. I don't know if I should be mad at Matt Patricia. I don't know if I should be mad at Jim Bob Cooter. Like,
you weren't on Tuesday?
No, it's Darrell Bevel. Darrell Bevel, whoever they hired from Seattle as their offensive coordinator. I don't know who I should be mad at for not getting a tight end the ball, but I'm lost with the Lions.
Yeah. I pulled up a couple mock drafts. Charles Davis doesn't have Dwayne Haskins going to 11, which means that he has Drew Lock being drafted at 10 by John Elway. Sir, you do not know John Elway well enough here. John Elway is grabbing himself the biggest quarterback available if he's drafting a quarterback at 10. It's either Daniel Jones or Haskins or nobody at all. He's not drafting small hands Drew Luck, which I also have very small hands. I can tell you right now, it makes it a hell of a lot harder to throw a football. Like, I think that's working against him in his NFL future here.
Right.
Any final thoughts on the NFL draft as it comes up?
I am a draft nerd, so I can't wait to start watching this stuff and doing some research on who the Lions end up getting.
Dude, I love it. I tried to go last year to a bar for like a trivia night / draft night. I ended up leaving by like 10 minutes in because I ended up stopped paying attention to trivia and was just glued to the television for draft night. Like it is for us football junkies, it is awesome. Like the whole night is awesome.
You said last year? Weren't we at my bachelor party last year?
Was that during the dude? That was definitely.
It was 100% the same exact weekend.
No, it was not.
Because I was watching this in the bar in Nashville on Saturday.
Yes, it was, but we didn't. Wait, did we leave on Friday?
We didn't leave, I think we went down there Friday.
We went on Friday.
You were
This
on
was on
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, okay. I was like, what the hell? Where are we? But yes, you are right. We were. I got a buddy at work who's doing the very same thing. He's got a bachelor party this weekend. That is what they're going to primarily be doing. So, talk about also how we dodged a bullet there. Draft is in Nashville this year. Could you imagine if it had been there last year? Oh boy!
Could you imagine what else could have been in Nashville last year? My God, there was so much shit going on.
This is very true. This is a true point. As we get very off topic,
they had
here.
the marathon. There was just so many people, and the hockey game.
Which poor Nashville has really their hockey. They exploded onto the scene and have since started to come back down to reality with the rest of us. Well, not the rest of us. I am not in that class. With the rest of you bottom feeders.
Watch yourself. We'll be back. Mark my words. Stevie Y will bring us back.
Yeah, all right.
The captain will lead us back to the promised land.
Any final? I just said that. Any final? It's been a long week, folks. I'm ready for the draft.
It's been a long week. I got nothing. I got nothing left.
All righty. Well, we'll call it quits on that. We'll circle back to this next week when the draft is all said and done. Peace, everybody.